Hi, this is Jeff Mesnick. I'm here with the Channel Marketing Journal, and I'm excited to be here today with Andrew Sage, who's the VP of Global Distribution Sales at Cisco Systems. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So you and I go back a few years, as we were just discussing.
We do. Yeah. The first time we worked together was early 2000s, right? When my job was global channels marketing.
Right, right. So this is awesome because I like to talk with people who've really lived both areas of the channel, from marketing to sales. You were had many different roles at Cisco in the channel environment. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love if you can maybe just share with us what is your role today and what does it mean to be that in that role at Cisco.
Sure. Absolutely. So again, thanks for having me. And I look forward to talking to you and all of your viewers. So my role now is I'm responsible for global distribution sales at Cisco. And that really, in essence, means all of the channel business that goes through our distributors and our two-tier resellers. That's about 40% of Cisco's total business that goes through this channel. So close to $20 billion. So it's a huge channel for us. And I am happy to also say that the two-tier partners, those partners that depend on distribution for support, are the fastest growing route to market at the company. So that's my present job. Just before this, and this is relatively new for me actually, just before this, I was responsible for the Americas distribution business. So I've recently had an opportunity to do a lot more traveling and meet a lot more interesting people, Jeff.
Oh, that's fun. So where have you been most recently?
Last week I was in South Africa, in Johannesburg, South Africa, meeting with our distributors down there.
Oh, awesome.
It's about as
That's
far away as you can get.
yeah. That's fabulous. So
Yeah.
you know, so you're talking about the fact that your indirects, your partners that work with the indirects, with your distributors, are growing faster now than ever before. So, is there a
Mhm.
specific program that you can think through, or programs that you feel like have helped to drive that success?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm probably gonna touch on three that I think are kind of foundational to our sort of present success. And we're really looking at the business in two ways. We just came out of our partner summit, our annual partner summit, which was in Las Vegas a few weeks ago, and it really simply put, our theme for the channel was perform and transform. So
Yep.
perform is kind of about today, and then transform is about tomorrow. And there's a lot of excitement in our channel at the moment because I think there's great opportunities in both. But I'll talk about sort of three things I think more in the perform category that we're really proud of in the distribution channel. One is frankly, this idea of simplification. So Cisco, we have a lot going on. Our solutions are quite sophisticated. We have software, we have SaaS, we have hardware. So simplicity is something that we have to work really hard at, and we're constantly getting feedback from partners that we're, improving, but we're still not where they need us. And recently, we've invested in digitizing a lot of the business processes that our distributors use to support the two-tier partners by allowing our distributors to access all of our systems at Cisco using APIs and giving them sort of a palette that they can use to create a really cool reseller experience that simplifies placing orders and checking on status and registering deals. And they've really taken that up over the last few years. They've run with it. So, in the US, for example, our major global distributors have all got these really innovative reseller portals that make life for two-tier partners easier. So they can do deals faster, they can spend less time on admin stuff, and I think that has an impact. So that one idea around simplification and publishing those APIs, I think is something we're super proud of. The second thing that I think has made a difference for us over the years is that we deal with about 50,000 resellers a quarter around the world. That's a lot of partners to keep track of, and it's sometimes difficult to know, what's the right program for the right partner. And you'll appreciate this being sort of a marketing leader. data is king here, and what you do with that data is even more important. And so we've created this concept called the partner journey that really deeply dives into the behavior and analytics of these long tail of partners and presents to the distributor a really cool dashboard that allows them to see, in sort of categories, how their partners are performing, how many are inactive, how many are only selling one technology, how frequently are they purchasing, how recently have they purchased, along with some of the more typical characteristics like how much do they buy. And this really informs the distributors on how to enable those partners to do more. If they've never sold security, then they can enroll in one of our distributor security training programs. If they only purchase once every 2 quarters, then maybe they need to engage in a demand generation program to sort of become a little bit more consistent in the delivery. So that partner journey is the second thing. We're really proud of that, and that's using data to have an impact. And then the final one I'll point out in the kind of perform category is as a program that we call Radius, and this is another example of how great this team is that I get to work with every day. Our marketing team and field teams have come up with a sort of a demand generation platform focused on our distributors that has become one of the most successful demand gen programs at Cisco. Last fiscal year, we reached out to 500,000 new prospects. We generated 12,000 leads with this program, and we generated $120 million in incremental bookings in our non-named space. So this is what we call the white space, the non-named customers. So this is really net new business to Cisco, to our distributors, and to our partners. And what Radius does is it is a program that the distributors run for us, and it allows a partner, no matter where they are in their sort of marketing journey, to be able to take advantage of demand gen. If they're pretty mature, we hook them up with a marketing concierge, and they can execute through this program demand gen out into the market. If they're really just getting started, then we'll start by doing some of the demand gen for them, feeding them the leads, and anywhere in between. So there are different levels of engagement, but in my opinion, Radius has had a huge impact for us in activating tens of thousands of new customers in the sort of white space. So those are 3 things in the perform category that we're pretty happy with.
That sounds great. I mean, I like the concept of the APIs and the performance monitoring, because now I talk to distribution a lot, and there's multiple pathways that they seem to need to pull their partners into. So if they're, whether it's increasing their knowledge or, as I mentioned, I had a great conversation with the team at Ingram Micro, and they want to move people to the cloud.
Right.
And those types of motions can be really developed, it sounds. Is there like a specific motion as well in those to help the partners move to the cloud? Yeah.
So it starts with that plumbing, right? So again, with our major distributors globally, we have now connected using APIs the ability to use their cloud marketplaces. So if you think about a solution like WebEx, which is a pure SaaS solution, or Umbrella, which is a cloud security solution, these are pure SaaS products. They apply up and down the customer stack, and they're now available on the distributors' marketplaces to transact sort of in a no-touch environment where you can provision, purchase, and then receive an invoice for any of these cloud services. So this gives us access to these, tens of thousands of kind of born in the cloud or SaaS resellers out there.
Right.
And at the same time, we're trying to teach our existing resellers, the value in automating. Right. Don't pick up the phone and talk to the person about a transaction. Pick up the phone and talk to your distributor rep about, I want to do some demand gen, or I want to learn something new. But the transactions should be easier and more automated. And that's a transition that they'll need to go through, but it's going to save them a ton of time in the future.
Excellent. And these programs that you're doing with the, and I apologize, I'm going to throw this one out of left field a little bit on you.
All right, go right ahead.
So I had a great conversation a few months back with Veeam, who's one of your ISVs. So
Yeah.
the question is, so how do you connect and empower those ISVs through your distributors? Do you have a program that helps them work in that fashion?
Yeah, we do. Veeam's a great example, and that's even better because the one way that we make it as easy as possible is that if they're as close to our sort of go-to-market as Veeam, we actually put them on the Cisco price list.
Right.
So we have sort of predefined solutions with Veeam and others that are on our price list. So the resellers that are familiar with transacting business with Cisco through the distribution channels can transact the business, which is it's a basic requirement.
Right.
And then on top of that, you want to be able to identify the resellers. So we work with Veeam and the distributors. We want to identify the resellers who have a history with both of us and they want to do more. And we can, for example, use that demand gen capability I discussed to maybe do some joint demand gen for Veeam and Cisco. So there's a go-to-market relationship that happens sort of a little bit more creatively at each of the distributors, and then there's sort of a back-end capability to deliver, which includes things like getting on the Cisco price list, so it's really easy to buy.
That's great. So what I like to do is take it from here, because I really enjoy the fact that we have these great programs, but there's also been things that I'm sure you've seen throughout your career, which is just like we've tried, people have been trying it for years, and it's just a continuous challenge, and you just kind of shake your head and go, man, this is a pet peeve of mine. Why do they keep doing the same thing over and over again? It's not going to work.
Yeah, I do have one of those. I do also want to share some of the transformative things that we're doing. So
yes, please.
What do you want me to do first? My pet peeve or the transform initiatives?
Let's talk about your transform initiatives and then talk about your pet peeves after that so that we can then kind of end on a fun note.
Sounds like a good deal. So, the things we talked about, those are things that are out in the market today and are really core to delivering this multi-billion-dollar channel and the growth that we've been seeing. We also have to remember that Cisco's distribution engine is almost half of our channel business, or 40% of our channel business.
Right.
And our channel is going through a big transition from project hardware licenses to business decision makers, subscriptions, and lifecycle selling, software and lifecycle selling. And the distributors need to be an integral part of how we move our partner community that relies on them into this new world of software and subscriptions and lifecycle. So we see our distributors playing two huge roles, and we're piloting. Actually, we're almost getting past the pilot phase now and starting to move in all of our geos in these following two ways. First of all, as we sell more subscriptions, and this is what our customers want, by the way. They want, OpEx engagements. They want monthly billing. They want free access to innovation. And really importantly, they want the partner or the vendor and the partners together to stick around after the deal has been closed so that they can drive adoption and success in using the technology. They don't want us to walk away. So the whole idea of customer lifecycle or the concept of customer success is core to our future. So our distributors are, number one, going to be doing what they do best, which is getting out there and training partners on how to build a customer success practice in their business. What does a customer success manager do? How does it make their customers more successful? And how does that translate into greater adoption, expansion opportunities, and ultimately a successful renewal, hopefully a larger number than you started in the beginning. So that whole success practice, our distributors will help our partners build that practice, train their people, understand the Cisco's programs and our new certifications, and get them moving down that path, which is going to set them up well for the future. Not all of them will want to go there or move as quickly, or may not be able to move as quickly as they, we want them to, or their customers want them to. And so in that case, the second role that our distributors are going to play is as a lifecycle specialist themselves. So they're going to build out businesses inside the distributors that are lifecycle businesses, and they're going to have customer success agents, and they'll be available to the resellers to deploy in their customers as needed sort of in an as-a-service model. So those are two things that we've got now out in the marketplace in most countries that we're starting to get a lot of traction and will be really core to our future.
So let's dive into that transform for 1 second. So,
Sure.
Because what we've heard out there, and maybe you can, validate this, is that if we can get partners to, focus on renewals, then they're able to build their own annuity business. So that it creates a little bit more stability for them. And that's a big motion that I know Ingram is pushing as well. Is that
right?
Does that make sense? Is that kind of the angle you guys are going for?
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the idea of, of a subscription ultimately ends in a renewal.
Yep.
And if you do a good job throughout the life cycle of that subscription, doing what I described a minute ago around, customer success, making sure it's adopted, making sure users are using it, then when it comes time to renew, that customer is going to be much more likely to spend that money. So our renewals focus is really a big part of this life cycle strategy, and we need to make sure they've got the renewals data and an easy way to engage that customer in a renewal conversation. But absolutely, and the more subscriptions and recurring revenue our partners do, the more critical this becomes. Our most profitable partners right now, the average recurring revenue percentage of our most profitable partners is 50. They do 50% of their business is recurring. So that's going to become more and more the norm out there.
Excellent. So would you basically stand behind it and say, as I heard other people say, and I'm putting words in your mouth, and you can stop me.
Please do.
But yeah. It's basically go to the subscription program, or eventually, if you don't as a partner, you're eventually going to probably go by the wayside. Is it?
We wouldn't necessarily be quite that blunt, but we will say this: the profitability in our business will begin to move to the subscription world and away from the pure hardware transaction world. So as the longer you stay in the pure hardware transaction world, the less you'll have access to the profitability programs as we begin to move them into subscriptions.
Right. Well, that's the nature of where the market's going. So any vendors who are listening out there, if you're not putting together the right programs for getting them to renew, and we did an interview recently where they basically have upped the percentage on the renewals. So there's the starting percentage of deal, and then it's higher when you get the renewal.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yep. All right, cool. So let's go to your pet peeve, if that's okay.
Okay. All right. So my pet peeve is as follows. I've been doing channels at Cisco for a number of years, and we get a lot of opportunities to stand up in front of rooms full of resellers who are our customers, our dear customers. And we have always had a philosophy, as I personally, my team, and those around me, of making sure that we're communicating something of value, of business value, because normally you're in the audience in front of the business decision makers. Our distributors do a fantastic job of bringing resellers together for conferences to learn and develop, and a lot of it is at the executive level. And so when we stand up on stage to talk to these partners, we always try to deliver a message of business value, something that talks to them about, or my lights went out here, something that talks to them about, my time's up, talks to them about, a significant value to their business. And so it's not easy, and it's a little harder to do that, but we definitely do that. And what drives me crazy sometimes is when someone from our company, or we try to avoid it. So let's say our peers out there or others get up on the stage in front of the resellers and read the product catalog or talk about the speeds and feeds of a device. I think it's a waste of our channel executives' time, and it takes the tone of those executive discussions down a notch. You need to talk about your company's strategy, no question. You need to talk about your products, no question. But those executives are there to learn something, about their business, and the more you can share, I think the more they're going to be loyal to you. Well,
that's excellent. I love that, especially because I do see too many people doing that myself. They're just standing up there. Yeah. They're just, let me read something wonderful to you. This is our data speed.
Right.
And everybody's asleep.
There are people that need to know that, but it's probably not the people that are in that room.
Right, exactly. All right, well, this has been great. So thank you very much, Andrew. This has been Jeff Mesnick with the Channel Marketing Journal, and I was here with Andrew Sage, the VP of Global Distribution Sales for Cisco Systems. And hopefully we'll be able to do this again sometime.
Thanks, Jeff. I look forward to it.